If a contractor is not already signatory to the national maintenance agreements, they will need to submit a request to become signatory to one or more of the 14 NMAs before filing a Site Extension Request, SER. This process is identified and discussed in the previous section of the NMA IQ. Once a contractor has submitted its request to become signatory, they will also need to submit an SER. The submission of an SER is the second step in the process of obtaining permission to utilize the NMAs at a particular location. Without it, the agreement is not in effect. Unlike the request to become signatory process, the SER process will often be repeated by contractors on a more frequent basis as they obtain additional work from owner clients and desire to invoke the terms and conditions of the National Maintenance Agreements Policy Committee program on a particular job site. Here's how it works. A contractor that is signatory to the NMA does not unilaterally retain authority to utilize the agreement whenever or wherever it desires. The reason for this is that the NMAs are standalone agreements that are national in scope, meaning that they can be utilized anywhere in the United States and, once approved via the SER process, supersede any local, regional, area, or national collective bargaining agreement. Given the immense geographic region where they can be invoked and the number of local, regional, or other national agreements that could also be applicable in the absence of the NMA, the NMAPC program requires that contractors, before commencing with work at any location, submit an SER and receive permission from each international union of which they have requested an SER. Not only is it a requirement of the NMAPC program, but it also creates a clear and definable record for all parties of when and where the agreement has been invoked. The quick and easy SER process is done electronically via the NMAPC website and typically takes on average 2 to 5 minutes to complete. Before submitting an SER, the contractor will need to have available several pieces of information. They include the facility owner's name, the plant or station name, project name, will they be the primary contractor or subcontractor, approximate start date, approximate end date, has the project been awarded or is it still in the bidding phase, identify which international unions they intend to employ, approximate number of craftsmen for each craft, the local union numbers of each craft, provide a brief description of the work to be performed, indicate whether any of the work in question will be subcontracted to other companies. Now let's take a moment to walk through a step-by-step tutorial of how to file an SER to one or more of the 14 NMAs on a specific location. 1. Log on to the NMAPC website with your username and password. 2. Select the File SER link in the center of the home page. Important note: when you enter the online SER form, you must complete all the required items. 3. Select the Find Owner box and either find the facility owner or add a new owner. In most cases, the owner and plant will already be in our database. It is highly recommended that you attempt to find the owner and plant before adding a new entry. 4. Select the Find Plant button and in the pop-up box either choose a plant from the list or add a new plant. 5. Select the Find Project box and either choose a project name from the list provided or add your own project name. 6. Choose either primary contractor or subcontractor based upon your contract status. 7. Choose the appropriate job status. Has the project been awarded or is it still bidding? 8. Complete the approximate start date and approximate end date boxes. 9. choose the international union your company is signatory with that you want to utilize and fill in the local union number and number of craft workers boxes. If you are not already signatory with an international union that you will need to complete the work in question, then you will need to request to become a signatory with that craft before being allowed to file an SER with them. Please review the previous section of the NMAIQ entitled Request to Become Signatory for information on how to complete this step. 10. Complete the brief description of work box describing briefly what work will be performed. Complete the subcontractor contact details box if you're utilizing subcontractors on this project. 12. Select the Continue button. 13. Under the Acknowledgement section, select Yes to indicate that you will comply with the terms and conditions of the National Maintenance Agreements. If the user's contact information above is the same as the contact person for this project, then select Continue. If the contact person for this project is not the same as the user's contact information above, then you can add additional contact email addresses to ensure that the appropriate point of contact will receive additional information pertaining to this SER. 14. On the last page of the File an SER request, you can review and correct any items you have previously completed before selecting Submit. Important note: once you select the Submit button, you can no longer edit or change any of the information you completed in the SER request. If you submit an SER in error or any of the information entered is inaccurate, please contact the NMAPC administrative offices. Upon submitting your completed SER request, you will receive an automated email that the SER has been sent to the international union from which you have requested to invoke the NMAs. Please note that each international union will have to approve or deny the SER before you will be allowed to commence with work. The automated email will also contain a link to the NMA pre-job conference form that you may use to document the completion of your pre-job conference. Please note that pre-job conferences must be held before each project as required by the terms and conditions of the National Maintenance Agreements. Once the international unions have reviewed your SER request and determined to either approve or deny your SER, the individual whose contact information was provided between steps 13 and 14 will receive an automated email that the SER has been approved or denied by the unions. This process typically takes anywhere from 5 to 10 days. If for whatever reason you need expedited an SER request, you can use the International Union Contact List to call the appropriate International Union's NMA point of contact. The aforementioned International Union NMA point of contact list can be found on the NMAPC website or by using the link below. In the event that an international union does not respond in a timely manner to your SER request, please contact the appropriate international union's NMA point of contact. 2 weeks before the approximate end date that was entered on your now approved SER, you will receive an automated email reminder that the approximate end date is approaching, and at this point, you should report any work hours performed on the project that are associated with this SER. And finally, the automated email also indicates that if the work is still ongoing, you should file an additional SER as needed.